Namaskar and welcome to Babylon KidCast. I'm your host Apeksha Bhandari from Grade 81 and today we are going to talk about something very important for every grade 8 student, the upcoming BLE exam. To discuss this, I have two wonderful guests from my class, Samriddhi and Akarsan. Without any further delay, let's welcome them in the show.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm really excited for this KidCast.
So let's begin. First, how are you both? I hope everything is fine. How are you both feeling about upcoming BLE exam? Are you excited? Are you nervous?
I'm nervous.
I'm a little nervous for the upcoming BLE exam.
Yeah, I'm sure many students are feeling the same. As being a grade 8 student, I'm also feeling the same. So, what part of exam are you most worried about?
Uh, I think most of the students are worried about in math and science, including me. These subjects has so many fake fact and figures to be remember.
I'm mostly worried about math, science, and Nepal Bhasha because it is hard to remember all the formulas and it is also hard to remember the grammatical formulas.
Okay, that's very relatable. So, how many hours do you study after school?
I usually study 2 to 3 hours a day.
I usually study for 2 hours a day and take a 5 to 10 minute break.
That's very disciplined. So, do you guys prefer studying in the morning, early in the morning, or late at night?
I usually study early in the morning because when my mind is fresh, I can remember all of my answers quickly in an easy way.
I usually like to study at night because it is a quiet to read environment and it helps me remember formulas quickly and easily.
Interesting. So, do you guys make timetable or do you study randomly?
As Babylon National School has also provided 2 hour self study for BLE examination. So, yeah, I usually follow around that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I also follow a timetable.
Okay. Are you able to focus while studying or do you ever get distracted?
Yes, I'm able to get focused while studying, but sometimes I get distracted from my gadgets, but I mostly try to avoid from gadgets.
I am usually focused while reading because I read in a quiet environment and it helps me remember quickly.
Okay, that's very nice. So, which subject is the most easiest for you guys?
English because I can read, write, and understand it very quickly.
I find English easy because it's all about free writing and the answers are given in the passages.
Yeah, that's very relatable. What about the hardest subject?
For me, the hardest subject is math because the question can be really tricky for me.
I find math hard because of all the formulas and the equations.
Wow, which subject are you most confident about?
I'm mostly confident in English and Samajic because I can write my answers in a freely way.
I am mostly confident about English and Nepali because it's all about free writing and writing what we know.
As you guys, that's very nice. As you guys said, math is the hardest subject. How do you prepare for that? Like, do you read or practice?
For me, I practice math for 5, 6 times until I feel confident to do it. And I also think that math is all about practice, 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 and practice.
I usually do both of them. I sometimes practice a formula for many times until I remember it and try to solve equations that I don't know and I find it hard.
So, Samriddhi, as you said, you can write freely in Samajic. How do you do that? Other students often find it difficult.
At first, I go through the chapter really properly, and after that, I I make my own points, so it really helps me during examination.
That's very creative. Akarsan, what do you actually find difficult in Nepal Bhasa?
I
Nepal Bhasa.
I find the letters and word different from our normal language and it is also not our main language and it is really hard to remember all the letters and words.
How do you prepare for that?
I prepare for it by reading the notes given by our Nepal Bhasha teacher and I usually practice Nepal Bhasha at home.
That's very true. Now let's talk about exam preparation strategies. What do you do a day before exam?
I usually follow the my teacher's notes and revisions, and I mostly try to avoid new chapters a day before examinations because it really confuses me during examination.
I usually practice numerals and equations. It helps me write it freely in examination, and I also revise the questions given by our teachers.
That's very true. Now let's talk about exam preparation strategies. What do you guys do a day before exam?
I follow my teacher's revisions and notes, and I mostly try to avoid the new chapters because it really confuses me during examinations.
What about you, Akarsan?
I usually practice numericals and I usually I usually practice numericals and equations given by our teacher, and I also revise the important questions for the exams.
Don't you interesting? Don't you guys get stressed like before exam?
Yes, I do get stressed before examination, but I take long deep breaths and tell myself that I've studied enough for the examinations. It really helps me to stay calm. Haha.
Okay, what about you,
I
Akarsan?
I also get stressed about the upcoming exams, and I usually overcome it by taking a 5 to 10 minute quick break while reading.
Wow. Now, do you guys study with friends, like group study, or alone? Which one is better?
For me, I think alone studying is a bit better because I can focus on myself. Group studying is also nice because we can discuss with our friends, but in my opinion, it's really distracting for me.
I usually like to study alone because it helps me to remember all the formulas and the numericals, and it is also a quiet to read environment and help me from not getting distracted.
So that's very nice. So, what motivates you to study hard for upcoming BLE exam?
To make my teachers and my family proud.
What about you?
I get motivated by the feeling of getting to the top and making my family proud.
That's very inspiring. So, finally, what tip would you give to other students who are preparing for this BLE exam?
To make a timetable, for read your revisions and take long deep breaths.
What
I I would like to tell that we should not read repeatedly and take a 5 to 10 minute break, and we should not let our hopes down about the exam, and BLE is an gateway to get into the higher secondary level, and we should study hard for it.
Thank you, Samriddhi and Akarsan. Your tips are really helpful. I'm sure our listener will benefit a lot from your advice. And I'm also going to follow some of your advice because it is so useful.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. I hope everyone succeeds on their BLE examinations.
Thank you for having me here and share my thoughts on this, and I'm very glad to be here and share my thoughts and ideas about the upcoming BLE exam.
Thank you, Samriddhi and Akarsan. That's all for today's Babylon KidCast. I hope every grade 8 student does their BLE best.